I'll be taking a look at the new Charizard in Standard and possibly expanded in the future, but for now I'm going to be playing both the new Charizard and Drednaw theme decks from Vivid Voltage today. On my initial impression of both, I am not that impressed. The best theme deck right now, if you watch my video, it's Relentless Flame, which also happens to feature Charizard. Relentless Flame has great synergy, great trainers, a great wall and Rapidash and energy acceleration built in for the Charizard. This deck requires you to get both Leon in your discard pile to do 200 damage, otherwise you are not one-shotting the other big Pokemon in the theme format. The support Pokemon, I'll just go down the line right here. For some reason, the deck plays this Lugia and not the new Lugia that can do 250 damage for I think 4 energy, which would have been just absolutely insane in theme, but instead you get this Lugia. It's not really much of anything to talk about. The Sudowoodo, good old double draw. Any theme deck that plays a card that lets you draw 2 or more cards for a single energy or maybe 0 energy with the Alolan Grimer. Anytime you have a Pokemon like that, it is great. It is welcome. I like seeing this. It can do some damage. Flail, if your opponent puts, 9 damage counters on it, you're doing 90 damage for a single energy. In theme, that's really good. And then, of course, you have I guess I'll talk a little bit about the Charmander and Charizard. Collect, cool, that's fine. Charmeleon, Raging Flames, it does 60 damage for 2 energy, and you only have to discard the top 3 cards of your deck. That's not horrible. And then, of course, you have the Charizard with Battle Sense. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put one into your hand, discard the rest. I played, I think, one test match with this deck, and it worked really well. Battle Sense was huge. So it's actually more important than you might think. And Royal Blaze, the deck only plays 2 copies of Leon, so you're maxing out at 200 damage. There is only, I think the highest HP in theme is not 200, so 200 is fine. It's just how do you get your 2 Leon? How do you get them in the discards? So that's the trouble there. And then you have Slugma. Your opponent's active is now asleep. That's worst case scenario. Magcargo and Yanmega are just horrible partners for this deck. Both of their main attacks require 4 energy, and getting 4 energy on Pokemon in theme is never easy, and once you get 4 energy on these things, odds are you're not going to have a backup attacker. So Magcargo is horrible. There's no Welder in the format, or in the deck, the card is horrible. If you're playing a really long game, yeah, you can use Bright Flame, but you can only use it once, then you discard 2 energy. And then Yanmega, U-turn, it does 50 damage and you can switch it, but who are you going to want to switch into? You switch into someone just to let them get knocked out. That's not fun. And then, that's just an amazing attack name. Cutting Wind. Come on, Pokemon. That you know what you did there. So it's just, they have 4 energy attack costs in theme, and those are your support Pokemon. Those are your backup attackers when you run out of Charizard, and that's just not good enough. You play only 1 Evolution Incense, 2 Great Ball, you got the 2 Bidet. It's good in theme because it's just energy acceleration, but there's only 2, and the Pokemon has to be on your bench. You got Dan the Man playing Rock, Paper, Scissors. You got 4 Hop, 2 Leon, and then how many research? 2 research, 2 Sonia. Just the supporter, the item, the trainer breakdown, I don't like it. I'm very surprised that they haven't included something like Quick Ball in some of these theme decks so far, because Quick Ball would make them a lot better. 4 Great Ball would be good, 2 Evolution Incense. Did they reprint Pokecom? If they reprinted Pokecom, we need that. It's just, they chose the lowest quality supporters for the deck and the lowest quality items for the deck. So that's not good, but to answer the question in the top of the video, in the title of the video, is this deck worth buying? And it's worth buying not because it's good in theme, it's worth buying because, much like Relentless Flame, you can build a good Charizard deck if you buy 2 of these. So you spend 1,000 coins, get 2 of them. The second one you'll have to open in your collection, otherwise you won't get the cards. But if you have 4 Charizard, you'll get 4 Leon. So it's worth it in that respect, but you will need to get things like Welder and Oricorio and just Giant Hearth, things to help make a fire deck work. But in terms of, is it worth it from a value perspective? Yes, it's worth it to get the deck just so you can build a deck in Standard. In theme, I don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to be playing a game with it, so we'll see what happens. And now I'll check out Drednaw. The obvious advantage right off the bat for the Drednaw deck is that every single one of your Pokemon has a weakness advantage over the both Charizard decks. Everyone's playing the new Charizard deck, whether it's good or not. People are playing water decks, they're playing the Charizard decks. So you have that advantage built in, but I mean, it could have been so much better. But so we got the 1 Evolution Incense, 2 Great Ball, 2 Switch, 2 Bidet, 2 Dan, 4 Hop. So the trainers are the exact same as the Charizard deck, except you have 3 copies of Nessa, put up to 4 in any combination of water Pokemon and water energy from your discard pile into your hand. That is so good for theme. You cut out the Ordinary Rod, so it's basically, it's a supporter, but it's better than Ordinary Rod. The problem is that the Pokemon in the deck are not great. You have the Arakuda and Cramorant engine, so Cramorant, discard any number of Arakuda from your bench. This attack does 60 damage for each Arakuda you discarded in this way. I mean, if you can somehow get that up and running, you can do 180 damage turn after turn, and that's really good. The problem is the deck doesn't play Quick Ball, it doesn't play Pokecom, it doesn't play a good way to get your Arakuda out of the deck. Once you get them in the discard, it's a little bit easier, but how do you get them out of your deck onto your bench in the first place? But aside from that, you also have Barraskewda. This one could be really good if you put some damage onto one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then they retreat to the bench. You can use Targeted Skewer to do double damage to it and hopefully take a knockout. But Jet Headbutt, 60 damage, 2 energy, that's not great. And unfortunately, the lead of the deck, Choodle and Drednaw, not great. Jawlock prevents them from retreating, but that's not major. And then, unfortunately, this card, it's not amazing. Vice Wave, if you played Nessa, your opponent's active is paralyzed and you do 80. So that's good, but you have to play Nessa and you have to get 3 energy on it. It's just, these new decks have high energy costs on the Pokemon and no real good way of acceleration. Like, yes, you can use Bidet to put the energy into play, but if you use Bidet, you can't use Nessa in the same turn. So you can't be quick. Whereas with something like the Charizard theme deck, you can be pretty quick with that. And there's definitely other theme decks that are quick. So then you got the Cramorant, but the main star of this deck is going to be Samurott. Samurott is the only reason why this deck has a chance of being good. That's just the Oshawott. It's basic. The Duat, Aqua Wash is fine, but you want to use this Aqua Wash. So Samurott has 160 HP and takes 30 less damage from attacks. So your opponent probably isn't going to be able to one-shot this. And then with Aqua Wash for 3 energy, you can put 2 energy attached to your opponent's active into their hand. So if you take a knockout, you don't put the energy back in their hand. But if you miss the knockout, then you put the energy back into your opponent's hand and they have to deal with that. Obviously, the Dragonite from Soaring Storm would just put the energy back into play. But for decks that don't have that built-in energy acceleration, Aqua Wash is huge. It just lets you control your opponent's energy, and that is great. And, I mean, this Wishy-Washy is really good if you're on your first turn going second. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 8. That is amazing. So what I would suggest with this deck, the strategy I'm going to try is just focus on Samurott, try and get that built up, and just go from there. And depending on how things work out, maybe Cramorant, maybe Drednaw, but I'm going to try for Samurott. I'll be doing this this gameplay after the Charizard, so I'll cut to Charizard, then right after I'll cut to Drednaw, so let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm squaring off against the Blastoise theme deck. That is unfortunate, and it looks like I'm just going to be drawing from my top deck the rest of the way. So I think against my better judgment, I'm going to go get a Magcargo. I wish I was getting a Charizard, but I think Magcargo makes the most sense. This is a horrible starting hand. Hopefully things work out, but I mean, look at this. You start a Slugma and you can't even attack with Magcargo until turn 3. They play Copycat. Copycat's an amazing supporter in theme just because you copy the amount of cards in your opponent's hand. And you got Collect. Oh man, this is great. Okay, so I can't lose those Charmeleon. I'm not going to play Rock, Paper, Scissors. Of course, that is what happens. See, this is why you need Quick Ball. So I will yawn just in case I can stop them from retreating, and I can't. So this is probably just going to be a quick loss here, but as long as I don't get a Wartortle, I should be fine. I mean, this is just a horrible starting hand. Why can't I get a Charmander? The Theme needs better Pokemon search. You know, you need Quick Ball, you need Pokécom. You can't just rely on one Evolution Incense and 2 Great Ball. Yes, you have Sonia, but Sonia's a supporter. You need more item-based Pokemon search and theme. You can't have 3 cards and only 2, which might get you a basic. So the theme decks definitely need some work. For year 1 of Sun and Moon theme decks, they were horrible. So for year 1 of Sword and Shield, they're not great. I'll probably be doing a video where I look at all of the decks from year 1 of Sword and Shield and sort of rank them from best to worst. This definitely won't be the best. And then, yeah, you look at that. You got Timer Ball. That's like double Evolution Incense when all you do is flip heads. And then, of course, you flip tails. Okay, so we're playing some rock, paper, scissors. I'm taking a knockout. We're not playing rock, paper, scissors, but I am taking a knockout. Okay, I got a Yanma, so I do have a weakness advantage with Yanma, and they can't really do anything, so I'm playing a Charizard theme deck, and I might never get a Charizard into play, and I have a chance to win. The good thing about theme is that even when you have a weakness disadvantage, you can still win, because theme decks are so inconsistent, and if they don't get anything here, they might just concede. But consistency and theme, those 2 things don't really go together. And there's another slug. Oh, are you kidding me? Well, I'm not putting the Slugma down, because that would be dumb. If anything, I'm going with Lugia. That might be able to soak up a hit later in the game. I can take a knockout, so it looks like I'm going to be using a bidet next turn to power up my Yanma, and then I'll draw. It's just, how do I want to play this? I can't even knock out a Squirtle for 3 energy on a stage 1. Okay, so I have to make sure the Yanma, there we go. Okay. I need to take the knockout. I can't go a turn without taking a knockout, but I also need to... Oh, this is tough. Well, I'm going to attach to the bidet to the Charmander. And then Bright Flame, that is horrible that I have to use 4 energy to knock out a Squirtle with a stage 1. And this sort of just backs up my point that the support Pokemon in this deck, you're not getting anything along the lines of Rapidash, you're not getting anything along the lines of Nidoqueen. You're stuck with what you're stuck with. Magcargo, I don't agree with the inclusion of Magcargo. You know, if the Pokemon Company put a Lugia from a previous set in this deck, so why would you force a Magcargo from Vivid Voltage when Magcargo from Vivid Voltage isn't very good? I think they forced the issue when they really shouldn't have. And, okay, so I pretty much got the win wrapped up. I mean, there's no way I lose this, right? We won't be playing rock, paper, scissors again. Just going to draw some cards. There we go. So I'll wait until they get a Blastoise. I mean, the Psyduck, I don't need to do anything with the Psyduck. So I'm all set up. As long as I can just not lose right here, I'll be fine. And yeah, that one, you can do the 90 damage to the bench. So this is also a point that happens a lot in theme, is where you're just sitting back. You know, they're not doing anything, I'm not doing anything. If I take a knockout, then they're knocking out my Magcargo. But I'm actually not too scared about that, because I can get a Charizard up and running. So I think I just take the knockout, let my Magcargo get knocked out in return. And honestly, I think getting the energy here makes the most sense. Because got the Yanmega, I have 2 Leon. I definitely need to get a Leon or a Yanmega. So I guess I will Great Ball, hope I get Yanmega. There's a Yanma, there's Charmander, let's get that. So this is sort of what I was expecting, is the Lugia is going to have to soak up a hit here. I could also use Battle Sense. I always forget about Battle Sense, and there you go. That is a win right there. I could have put both Leon in the discard, but why bother, right? Why not have a Leon in your hand? I got the energy. There's no way they can disrupt my hand because this is theme. They don't play Reset Stamp or Marnie. So because they had a slow start, yeah, that's fine. I'm taking the knockout with Charizard. I don't even care at this point. Charizard's taking the knockout. I do wish that they would have gotten a Blastoise, because as you saw in the anime, Charizard can just go right through Blastoise. Doesn't matter. So I'm doing 150. I won't even do anything. Just going to use Charizard, knock out a Wartortle. History repeats itself like the anime, except, that was a Blastoise. But I still would have taken the knockout on the Blastoise. I would have just played Leon. So even if you're at a weakness disadvantage, you can still win, but you saw how slow this deck was, right? If they had just had did they even play a supporter this game? They played... Okay, no, they had some supporters. They just got some bum draws. And then that's game. Oh, what? Oh. They did the thing. Okay, that's a little boring. Well, I'm just going to use Bidet and take the knockout with Yanmega because they forced my hand. I could retreat into Charizard and take the knockout with Charizard, but I want to cut some wind. So you saw how slow this was. If they would have just knocked out that Macargo, at any point, it would have been game over for me. But because they had such a slow start, it was a win. So you did see a win with the deck. I'll give it that. I still hold true that this deck is not great. It's not at the top tier. It is worth buying 2 copies of it to build the deck in Standard. Is it worth it to buy it in Theme? That's up to you. I would say the top decks in Theme in my other video, I think were Relentless Flame, the Kyogre deck, and the Groudon deck. I think that's where you want to start. Also get Soaring Storm. If you're bored with the top 4 decks, then try something like this. But for now, this is not an amazing deck. It's not going to disrupt that top 4 decks. But let's go to Drednaw and see if that's any good. Alright, so I have a very interesting starting hand. I think I go for the Arakuda and see what happens there. Because that is a very interesting starting hand. I know I said I wanted to focus on the Samurott, but in this case, the Wishy-Washy would be really good to start. Okay, so they have their Call for Family. I have my... why couldn't this just be Call for Family? Why does it specify Arakuda? Call for Family is already a pretty weak attack. Okay, so we got that and that. I could put the energy on the Choodle, but I think I'll pass. So I'm just sort of waiting. I do have Samurott potential. And if I get Samurott up and running, I think it's just an easy win because they can't really do anything. Their deck is all about, doing, I think, 120 per turn. I can get an energy. That's really good. The deck plays Nessa. So if I get rid of a water energy to get a water energy, that's fine. It thins my deck a little bit. So I think with Dan, the strategy is... I think it goes rock, paper, scissors. Odds are they're going to pick rock, so I'll pick paper. And we'll see if I can outbrain them here. There's a Samurott. Okay, so I will Viridian the energy. Get it energy. And it's Dan time, so big brain time. Picked up 2. I'm going to go with paper because they're going to pick rock. They're totally thinking about picking rock. They're going to pick the first option that shows up. And I told you. I outplayed them right there. I didn't get a Duat, though. So do I just go for 2 Arakuda? Do I attach? I think at this point, I just go for 2 Arakuda. And just assume that's getting knocked out. I think I need to thin the deck at this point. I need to thin the deck from as many Pokemon as possible to increase my chances of getting cards that I need. I don't need more water energy. I don't need another Choodle. I don't need... the Wishy-Washy would be really nice, but I can't bank on it because this deck doesn't play Quick Ball. Just like the Charizard deck, the Pokemon search is horrible. The deck I'm playing against has Pokecom. Pokecom swaps a Pokemon in your hand that you don't want with a Pokemon that you do want. Okay. But one thing that I'm going to complain about... Okay... There you go. One thing that I will complain about in Theme, they should, in Standard and Expanded, I get it. They remove the turn 1 supporter rule to help slow games down and to stop people from getting into these really good positions before you even have a chance to play the game. But there isn't a single supporter in Theme that is disruptive. Why would you ruin Theme by getting rid of that turn 1 supporter rule? I don't get it. Okay, so they are very close to getting their Empoleon, and I need to get 2 Duat here or else I pretty much just lose. So I need 2 Duat. Actually, I need more than 2 Duat. Okay, let's get it. Okay, so they picked rock last time. I picked paper. They're going to pick scissors. I'm going to pick rock. Let's see if I can big brain them again. And it worked again. And oh man, are you kidding me? So they're pretty much in a position where they're just going to use Empoleon turn after turn. I know that I bench locked myself, but I mean, I had 2 Dan. I won the rock, paper, scissors twice. But because the Pokemon search is so light in this deck for evolutions, I lose. They're just going to use Recall. They're going to pick off my Oshawotts, and that's pretty much game. So I'm going to go to another game because this was bad. That was, I mean, come on, Pokemon. You give me that bad of a start. Let's go to another game and let's see what happens. And you're just seeing the problems with the fact that I can't play a turn 1 supporter. Like, how is it? Why did they have to get rid of that rule? I would draw 3 cards. That's not that powerful. Like, I can't attack. I can't do anything. So my options here are I can potentially Jaw Lock the following turn. They can't retreat. They can't take a knockout. So I think I'm using Jaw Lock and fingers crossed that I draw into what I need. So this is another one of the top decks. I think it's Towering Heights. The previous one was the Kyogre one. Unseen Depths, that's also really good. So Relentless Flame, Unseen Depths, and Towering Heights, all really good. And give me what I need. There's an Arakuda, so that's not what I need. They don't have an energy, though, so that is interesting. That I've never seen that before, I don't think, when I've filmed a video where my opponent just doesn't attach an energy in theme. Usually when you play theme, the meme in theme is that, you know, you start a Pokemon and then these are all just energy because you play 18 to 20 energy. And they only draw 2, but overall they have a much better deck. It's just a matter of, can I do this? They haven't gotten any energy yet. I'm taking a knockout. I need energy, but I also need basics. So I'm going to go for Hop and hope I get an energy. That's perfect. There's a Choodle. I guess I just go for Great Ball. There's an Oshawott. This is amazing. So maybe I was a little bit wrong about the synergy here with this deck. I'll talk about that in 1 second. Because, you know, I was a little harsh on the deck because of the item search. And you got 2 Great Ball, 1 Evolution Incense. But Sonia actually works really well with the Arakuda Cramorant attack. So with Sonia, you can get 2 basic Pokemon. And then with Cramorant, you need basic Pokemon on your bench to do 120 or 180 if you manage to have 3. Then that's not good. Okay, so they're going to damage their own bench. I really hope they get an energy because I don't want this game to end. I think this could be a really good matchup. Thank you. Okay, good. They got an energy. They're not taking a knockout. They're damaging their own bench because Mew only stops me from damaging their bench. So at this point, I think I hop again. Hop till I drop. Get another energy. That's perfect. I evolve into Duat. I think I saved the Arakuda. Is it worth it to... I can retreat into the Wishy-Washy, but I don't think that's good. I think I have everything I need. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to Cramorant. Am I going to Cramorant? Well, hang on. They can't really do anything. I think I just attach to the... Yeah, I attach to the Duat. Just the way my hand is working is it's a little bit awkward. One of the drawbacks of Sonia is you can't get a combination. If Sonia let you get a combination of 1 basic and 1 energy, that would have changed the whole dynamic of this game. I would have just attached to Cramorant, and the next turn I would have grabbed an Arakuda and an energy. But since I can't guarantee the 2 cards that I need next turn, I have to guarantee the 1 card I need next turn, which is just a water energy, and Sonia lets me get 2. And I can just take a knockout with Aqua Wash because Seismitoad... Well, there you go. Seismitoad would have had 160. That would have been a knockout anyway, and I won't put the energy back in their hand because I'm taking a knockout. So what happened there is I had to go with the sure thing. Yes, it's a little bit boring, but because they had that, bum start with no energy, I'm able to, play a little bit more conservatively, but it's Samurott time. It's Samurott time. I really wish I could get an Oshawott and an energy, but I can't. Jawlock might come into play, so I'll do that. Alternatively, I could use Nessa, but I don't want to use Nessa. It would be so nice if I could just go get a basic Pokemon. Sonia, why do you have to suck? Okay. So I'm taking a knockout, and let's see if this is just, this Samurott is the one reason this works. This is a Samurott theme deck. This is not a Drednaw theme deck. Obviously, they wanted to highlight Drednaw because it's a signature Pokemon in the video games. It's a signature Pokemon in the Galar region. But make no mistake, this is a Samurott theme deck with only 2 Samurott, unfortunately. But this is 100% Samurott Drednaw. Both of the Drednaw from the non, VMAX Drednaw. The VMAX Drednaw's not that great either, but... Okay, so that's pretty much just going to wrap it up right there. So I will hop till I drop, and then there you go, Great Ball, just get whatever. So I don't have a guaranteed Samurott attack next turn, so I might have to sack a Chewtle or something, but that's fine. I will Aqua Wash, there's no energy to put back. They can't take a knockout, but yes, I'm going to win this game, but just look at the deck my opponent's playing. They have the Palpitoad, which does 60 damage for a single energy, and it damages the bench. You have Throw, that does 120 damage, and if you have damage counters on your own bench. So just the synergy there is insane. The Garchomp is amazing. It can one-shot anything for 2 energy. Almost anything. I think it comes up a little bit short. No, because it does 200. Yeah, so if you're behind on prizes, the Garchomp is insane. But you're seeing why this is a Samurott theme deck. Because I'm going to Aqua Wash. I'm going to put that energy back in their hand. Because they have to discard an energy to take this knockout. Because Shell Armor is so cool. And they didn't read the card. Shell Armor, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage. They were doing 160, so they did 130. I'm going to put the energy back in their hand. So this is why Samurott is so good. Unfortunately, it only does 120, but they're going to have to attack with a Throw next turn. They're going to take a knockout, yes, but then I'm just going to knock them out. And then they have a Garchomp with barely any health left. And this is where Arakuda would also come in handy. I can just snipe that Garchomp, so this deck would be so much better if they didn't bother with Drednaw. If this was just a Cramorant, Arakuda, Samurott deck, it would be insanely good. So who do I want to power up? Yeah, I want to power up the Cramorant. Sure, let's just get everybody back. And this is why Nessa is good, because Nessa is in combination. Sonia doesn't say in combination. But Nessa's in combination, so Sonia, I don't like that. Nessa, I really like that. So Nessa's really good. But if they just cut out the Chewtle and the Drednaw, I think that's 4 or 6 cards. And if they just put 2 Cramorant in the deck, 4 Arakuda, they made it 1 extra Barraskewda, and they just cut those out, the deck would be so much better. Unfortunately, they didn't. But if you get this deck, which isn't bad, it's not in the top 4, doesn't crack that top 4. But this is a tier 2 theme deck. It's not tier 1. The Samurott is just so amazing in theme. If you can get that up and running and you have your Nessas, you can keep recycling them. Yes, getting the energy onto them isn't easy, but if you only focus on getting Samurott up and running and you forget about the other Pokemon, you're going to have a good time. Cramorant can get you some knockouts in a pinch. The Barraskewda, if your opponent retreats a damaged Pokemon, that's really good. So this is a tier 2 theme deck. It would have been tier 1 if it was a Samurott theme deck and not a Drednaw. But I think if you have to buy one of the 2 new theme decks, I think this is probably the one to go with. But if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'll sign off. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.